5828. Herbal Farmacy.
We're back, and thanks for viewing. Dr. Lewis, let's talk about preventative, holistic prevention of cancer. What's out there?
When you're dealing with preventative maintenance on the body, you first of all, the food that you eat, actually since World War II, the nutrients from the soil has been depleted. Our soil is depleted. You have to go to some mountain someplace and get good soil, get good food. You know what I mean? What you're eating right now, you're eating canned food. You're eating frozen food is good. Fresh vegetables are good, but canned food, and then they got the I'm stuttering now on this thing because I don't even know what the heck is in it. But the first one is loaded with sodium.
And then what is it?
It's sodium. They have to use preservatives in there to hold the canned foods. You need to look at your salt. That goes into high blood pressure anyhow. But anyhow, we're going to go there. You're microwaving your food. You have you're cooking with lead pots and copper pots and all this stuff here. You're drinking water that comes out of lead pipes and all this stuff. You don't know. You don't know what you're eating. There's no way in the world that you can handle these things here. You have to fortify, you have to strengthen and fortify the immune system. The immune system is your lymphatic system. In certain forms of cancer, they go in and they cut out the immune system. Well, they cut out the lymphatic system, the lymph nodes. Okay, you need them. That's like taking the men off of this side of the wall of the Alamo. If you take your soldiers off of this side of the wall, what happens? The enemy's going to come up that side. So you need to strengthen and fortify. You need to surround cancer. Cancer cannot live where oxygen is. That's why ozone therapy is extremely unique. Good proper rest is one of the most powerful things. Not being stressed. This society is stressful.
Yeah.
Okay. The horns, the noise. It's pollutants. It's pollutants. There's over a million different types of cancers, not just one type of cancer. You have over 1 million cells in your body, over 1 trillion cells in your body. And it's not just, we go according to how many organs you have. So they call it cancer of the lungs, cancer, whatever the organ is, that's where it's at, that's what they call it.
So what formula do you have for cancer?
We have it's a blood and body cleanser, which is actually the anti-cancer, anti-AIDS, and anti-sarcoidosis formula, which are blood purifiers, blood cleansers, and blood detoxifiers. We use at the same time the total nutrition, with some of the herbs in there, like astragalus, which help rebuild the T and the C cells. The padiaco, which is blood cleansers, it fights cancer. Your burdock root, your rhubarb, turkey rhubarb. Comes underneath the what they call it. I can't even pull the name up there. Asiac, which they call it, which is a form of the Indian. The lady that formulated it herself, her name is Cassie, so spelled backwards is Asiac. Excuse me. And some of that particular formulation and add it with my own herbs. I put other herbs in it, and we come up with something that seems to work well on some cases. I will never use the term cure. I would only use the term help promote healing, as God is the only one that cures.
Exactly. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with Dr. Lewis.
Massage and Restorative Therapies is conveniently located in Chesapeake. You will enjoy our personalized service and our nice, calm atmosphere. Services offered and not limited to include therapeutic massage, pain management, aqua chi, Reiki, and Psych K. Please call 757-409-3529 for more info or to book your next appointment. And remember, Massage and Restorative Therapies.
We're back, and we're here with Dr. Lewis. Dr. Lewis, let's talk about diabetes. Origin. What's the deal on diabetes?
The pancreas. Pancreas is not producing insulin.
And why?
Well, if you're born and you don't have we call it type 1 diabetes, when the pancreas is not producing insulin at all. That's when you have to put them on insulin. The carbohydrates cannot be broken down properly. but when we call that type 1 AAA when you were born with it. There's generally no cure for that. But the measurements, things that they're using now, such as the insulin, which will cover a general type 1, not type 1 AAA, the one you're born with, but a diabetes to the point where you develop it through the years of improper diets and so forth. Or at the same time, it could come in the DNA, where later on down the line, you've had a history of people in your family that may have had a diabetes, and now you just happen to have it according to the way you have been eating. You need to eat a diet. If you know your family has, if you have a history of diabetes, these are certain foods that you need to stay away from, or if you don't necessarily have to stay away from them, but just be careful on how you're eating. Don't overdo it. Have your sugar checked on a regular basis by your doctor and find out. And for those that have type 2 diabetes, where they want to put you on a pill or so forth, you're generally anywhere ranging from 120 to 200s. You're in the 300s. You probably need to be on insulin anyhow. But what we have here at the Herbal Pharmacy, we use Chinese herbs. We use the chromium and vanadium, which helps the pancreas. It's also good for pancreatitis, which is not diabetes, but it's the pancreas having problems itself. It goes deeper into that, though. And then, of course, we give you herbs like peach leaves, blueberry leaves, bilberry leaves, huckleberry leaves, all help with the bringing on the sugar. You have gargum and gugo, which also helps lower your cholesterol, but we use that in the diabetes formula as well. You have, well, let's put it this way. There's no set herbs that you have to use. Every herbalist generally finds their own herbs that can help the pancreas promote insulin. I just happen to use the few that I mentioned because it works.
Right.
It works. We've had people that was on insulin and they're no longer on insulin.
Right.
We've had people that were just had type 2 diabetes that was on the pill, metformin, glucophage, Avandia, and all these things here, and they're not on it anymore.
Yeah, you've helped my husband also.
Well, that's good. Very glad of that. The whole idea is that you have a choice.
Exactly.
And the choice is you can either be on the meds. Some people need to be on the medicine because the herbs may not help at all. But for those of
is that because it's so far gone, it's so far advanced, the reason the herbs can't help it?
It's generally, again, I got to go back to attitude. When you go back where herbs can't help, it's more attitude because they haven't changed their diet. They still like eating their carbohydrates. Things that they haven't changed in their diet can increase the amount of doesn't allow the insulin to flow properly where you need the medication or you need the insulin.
So what about hypertension? Hypertension and cholesterol kind of go hand in hand?
Somewhat. I would say you could have hypertension and don't have high cholesterol. The majority of the time, if you have high cholesterol, you have high cholesterol and don't have hypertension. But at the same token, they run the same trail. With high cholesterol, you have a tendency of having too much saturated fat, clogging your arteries, which now, as the artery starts to close in, what happens is the blood flow cannot travel, which the blood is carrying the oxygen and the nutrients to the entire cellular system. But what happens here now, it's not being fed. So this fat starts to build up. For instance, if you have high cholesterol and you're eating shrimp, one shrimp has about 38 to 46% saturated fat, so you don't need to be on shrimp. You don't need to be on fried foods. You need to do steam, stew, broil, boiled, or baked. But at the same token, the formulas that we have here will actually help promote healing and alleviate the buildup of the saturated fats that's clogging the arteries, so you don't have to be put on a stent or either have a coronary artery bypass.
Wow.
When it goes down to high blood pressure, because the vessels are actually being blocked, which you have over 90,000 miles of cardiovascular highways, but most of the time when it hits the aorta and you get clogged up around that main valve here, that's where the part comes in, where the heart is not allowing the blood to flow, so it can't carry the oxygen and nutrients. The saturated fats blocks it, the blood pressure starts to elevate, and you got high blood pressure. But that's not the only reason what causes high blood pressure. Stress can cause high blood pressure without having your arteries clogged up. You're just out of the way. There's people that have high blood pressure really should not drink any form of caffeine at all, because it intensifies them. It creates a form of anxiety, heart fibrillation, heart palpitation. And then if you have fluid, which is the fibrillation part, you have too much fluid building up in the heart, they want to put you on a diuretic to help to eliminate congestive heart failure. If you have them with congestive heart failure, you got a flood. Your heart can't pump enough, fast enough to get the fluid out, to get the blood out. So you end up with possibly a heart attack or stroke or even a seizure.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with Dr. Lewis.
If you have been suffering from type 1 or 2 diabetes, then you need to know about the Herbal Pharmacy's Ultimate Diabetes Formula.